To the South China Sea now, where today the first pictures were released of joint military drills between the United States, the Philippines, Australia and Japan in the disputed territory on Sunday. The US is seeking to strengthen defense cooperation with its allies in the region to counter China's growing influence. Beijing claims almost the whole of the South China Sea as its territory, leading to confrontations with its neighbours. China said it carried out its own exercises at the same time. And let's go straight to DW correspondent James Chater in Taipei. James, why are these drills taking place now?
Well, of course, the key context of these drills is China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea. You mentioned in that introduction there about the growing aggressiveness that we've seen targeted at Philippine vessels in that region around disputed islands. Even though Beijing wasn't mentioned explicitly in the announcement of these drills, it's very clear that this is the target of the countries, of the drills that are taking place between these four countries. As you mentioned in that introduction, China claims sovereignty over almost the entirety of the South China Sea. That's despite a 2016 ruling that ruled against China's statement, really, and belief that it has that control over the South China Sea. And so what the US and its allies are really trying to do in this situation, according to the statement, is to uphold the freedom of navigation, whether that's in the maritime sphere or in the air, to around this hotly contested stretch of water.
Now, what exactly did these drills entail?
Well, one of the key things was anti-submarine maneuver exercises that took place between the navies of those four countries. But really the focus of these drills was to increase interoperability and the level of communication between the four countries. We see these images coming out from the drills of personnel from the four militaries sitting around tables discussing those activities. And this really is a subtle but very powerful statement and symbol of the unity that the US and its allies are trying to protect in this part of the world, given this more precarious environment that we see now, where we have China pushing back against the Philippines in the South China Sea, but also against Taiwan too.
Can we expect further cooperation between these countries in the future, maybe even more wide-ranging?
Yeah, well, these drills are all part of these tectonic shifts that are taking place in the Indo-Pacific, where the US is trying to build this lattice-like network of relationships between its allies in the region. So later this week, of course, we have this really historic trilateral summit between the US, Japan and the Philippines. That will follow a bilateral summit between the US and Japan. And of course, hovering in the background, also negotiations between Japan and the Philippines, who are looking to sign a reciprocal access agreement between those two militaries, which would allow troops to be stationed on each other's territory. So again, this drill, just the latest example of this ongoing theme we're seeing in the Indo-Pacific between the US allies trying to raise the level of deterrence and complexity for US rivals like China and North Korea in their ambitions in the region.
DW's James Chater there. Thank you very much, James.